Joining us tonight is Doug Wead, advisor to two presidents, presidential historian. Doug, first, I want to get your reaction to those demonstrators, those protesters, and in some cases, violent rioters who have descended upon the Capitol and have, for the most of the day, controlled, apparently, most of the afternoon, I should say, and evening to this point, been in control of the Capitol. Your reaction?
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's also disappointing to see the news media sensationalized coverage of this. I mean, in 1954, for example, we had Puerto Rican nationals break into the Capitol with semi-automatic weapons and fire them from what was then called the Ladies' Gallery in the Congress, the House of Representatives. Right. And if you'll remember, in 2017, we had a Bernie Sanders supporter open fire on American senators and congressmen who were Republicans, who were practicing for the annual congressional baseball game. And an evening news anchor said that it was somewhat self-inflicted, meaning if you're a Republican, you should be murdered. It was I've been a little disappointed
that was not
by
on the Capitol
coverage.
Grounds.
That was not on the Capitol grounds, but of course Puerto Rico was.
Yes,
the Puerto Rican attack.
Right. I was just making a distinction in the case of the second example. Right. We've heard a number of examples here. We've never seen anything like the number of Trump supporters who descended on the Capitol in such numbers. I have heard a number of estimates. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with any of them, but some of them ranging as high as 1 million in the city itself, over 100,000 on the ellipse. We're still waiting to get some sort of accurate count. You know, that's what we in the media do. We've always got to have a crowd count to give some further depth to the story. There's a good example of what those numbers look like when they unfurl their flags and stand listening to the President of the United States, as they did today. Are you surprised that we are, for the first time, we're talking about acts of violence? As far as we know, there has been no violence other than one report of a gunshot, a woman shot. We cannot verify that. We have not been able to do so with the Capitol Hill police or anyone else, including witnesses. But have you ever seen this many conservatives in the streets or certainly taking charge of buildings in the country's modern history? It's just not done. The rather snooty Republicans are thought of as being very staid, apathetic, and above this sort of thing. And now watching patriots taking lessons from their left-wing brothers and sisters, scaling walls and taking control of buildings, in this case, the Capitol, for crying out loud. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, the frustration is finally boiling over. 74 million people voted for Donald Trump, more than any president in history, except his opponent now, Joe Biden. And when there's violence in the streets of Portland, when policemen are shot in the head with a gun, there's no outcry. I thought President Trump did very well by condemning this and telling people to go home. I never have heard Joe Biden condemn Antifa or condemn rooters from stealing TVs out of Targets. And I think that President-elect Joe Biden should be reaching out to these people. If you truly want to unite the country, you should say, I know how you feel. We're going to investigate this. Let's find out. But I'm not going to hold my breath.
His test will come sometime. If it comes, it will come sometime around January 20th. The president, I thought, gave a terrific statement imploring those demonstrators and those Trump supporters to go home, as he did today.
If you want a litany of all the good things that Donald Trump did as president, get inside Trump's White House. It's the authorized version, the authorized account of the Trump White House. Great stories. You know, they text each other every day. So here's Melania and Ivanka and Jared and Laura, the great love story of Eric and Laura. You got to read that. And hide and go seek with the 9 grandchildren racing through the state floors and barons supervising. Here it is in Dutch, it's in Japanese and Korean and Chinese and all over the world. A great positive read of what our president accomplished in his historic years. Subscribe to this channel. It's the only way we know to defeat the censors. They change the numbers of views, they shadow ban, they throttle. The only way we've been able to try to get videos directly to our people is if they subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell. We're trying to survive this era of censorship, the new Soviet era of the United States.